Warning, this podcast contains themes of extreme violence and murder. Subject matter may be offensive to some listeners. Discretion advised.
Welcome to another episode of Evil Transgression, your homicide headquarters here in podcasting. I'm Josh, and with me as always, Dustin and Rex.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, what's up?
That was so soft. Hey, what's going on?
That's how you normally sound, so.
Did you guys have a good Memorial Day?
I did.
Yeah, it was good.
I did.
What'd you do?
Didn't work.
Yeah, that is a plus.
So,
I mean, that's what you thought of on Memorial Day.
no, that's what I did.
What else did you do?
Not much. Really at all.
I reflected on all of the soldiers that we've lost in service.
You didn't say just enjoy the long weekend?
No, I didn't.
Good.
It's kind of relevant because today on the show we've got a couple veterans we're going to talk about.
Really? Okay.
I mean, they made it through their service, but
Yeah.
there's a tragic end coming up. Spoiler alert. But
No way, not on this podcast.
Never.
yeah, a little crazy. But I think before we get into it, everyone should hit that subscribe button
Do it.
I agree.
if you haven't already.
Yeah, it only takes 2 seconds.
Boom, done.
Oh, you timed it?
Yeah,
I just did it right now. Boom.
you just did it again.
That was quicker than 2 seconds.
Unsubscribe. Subscribe. Boom. Did it again.
Amazing.
No, so it was a good. Yeah, it was a good weekend. You guys cook out?
No.
Nope. I just ate my prepped meals like I always do. So it was exciting.
I just had bland chicken and rice. Thank you for your service, gentlemen. I'm just gonna eat my beans and rice.
But I do add the Tabasco scorpion sauce to all my meals, so that adds some flavor and heat.
Your butthole appreciates it.
Oh, it does every morning.
Can I tell a short story real quick?
No.
Please.
Okay. So yesterday, when I was at work, you know how we have, like, it's the cicada infestation right now?
Right.
Indeed.
Well, up north of where we live is a lot worse. So I got out of my truck yesterday to get something, and I grabbed it and brought my arm up, and there was a cicada on it.
Oh, really?
And it flew off, and it flew down my shirt under my armpit. Dude, I lost
Pure
it.
panic?
I lost it.
Pure panic.
Did you rip off your shirt?
Flapping its wings like boom, like just busting.
In your pit?
Right here in my pit. I was like, it felt like it was hurting. I was like,
Felt like it was hurt.
like shaking my shirt.
I imagine the people that's got like Ring doorbells and sees this guy out here
Oh, that is awesome.
stripping off naked in the middle
It
of the
was
road.
awful. I got him out, and like he really made me mad. So
He's no longer with us.
he caught the stomp.
Oh, no.
But before that, I ripped off one of his wings.
Man,
On purpose?
so
On purpose.
evil.
On purpose.
On purpose.
How?
Like
When you got him off of you, you
yes.
had him by the wing.
He was on the ground, and I grabbed his wing with my foot and slid it back.
Dang.
But he did that shit on purpose. He went in there
Maybe
on
we should be
purpose.
doing this episode on you.
Maybe he liked the smell of your deodorant or something, you know?
You know what? Aren't they? Isn't it true when cicadas come out of the ground, they're like already dying? They don't live for like a certain amount of time.
I mean, a season, but
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
it still doesn't excuse your murderous tendencies.
Yeah, no kidding.
Ripping wings off and stuff.
Hey,
terrible.
That's how most of these killers get started.
Yeah,
it
start
like
with
11 and
insects,
12,
animals.
not 33.
Well, just because you got pit attacked by
Have you seen
cicada.
those things with their red beady eyes and they
Yeah.
just
Oh,
stare
yeah.
at you and like,
Yeah. Little freaky.
Yeah, no.
It reminds me because my cousin tells a story. He does landscaping, and he was mowing a lawn one time with one of the big 52-inch walk-behind mowers.
Yep.
And it was like not this season, but the previous 17 years ago where they came out. And he didn't know what it was, and he was like mowing this lawn, and it came out of nowhere, and he like got attacked by a couple of them. And not knowing what it is, he just like lets go of the mower while it's still going. He said it was like doing circles in the yard. It made me think of that.
Man, I've got a terrible mowing story that just happened this week.
Yeah?
So I'm mowing along the fence, and all of a sudden I heard a loud-ass grind. I thought it was a tree branch because I was under the tree. So
when you say you hear a crunch and it's not a tree branch,
yeah, like I back it up, and there's a little bunny wabbit. And I don't know if it had to have already been dead because
if that helps you sleep at night,
right?
Because I never saw it run out. I mean, my grass was a little high, but not high enough to block a wabbit. So
you killed a rabbit.
I did. I felt bad.
Well, I just want all of our listeners to know that I haven't killed anything this week. You're welcome.
Rex's is a little worse.
And he didn't do it on purpose.
I didn't do it on purpose.
I didn't either.
Liar. Your shoe accidentally went onto the wing and then ripped it off.
Yes.
And then you stomped him.
Huh. Yeah, I was in like a rage. You scared me.
That's usually how
how it starts.
Defense. Yeah, that's usually their defense. Like, I wouldn't have killed him if I wasn't so mad.
I wasn't being myself.
Hey, that was self-defense.
Huh.
Well, let's talk about rage as we discuss Joseph Alexander Pill. Joseph Alexander Pill was born September 25th, 1924. Joseph, the son of a motel owner, had a successful youth, if that's what you want to call it. Let's just say he survived it, and joined the U.S. Army. Pill fought in World War II as a staff sergeant. After leaving the service, Joseph Pill married and had 2 children. In 1949, Joseph Pill became a lawyer, and 3 years later in 1952 became West Palm Beach's only municipal judge.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It is. But fate would have it, Joseph Pill was a crooked judge.
Never heard of those.
He accepted many bribes from gangsters and bootleggers and was on many of their payrolls. So that's like mafia movie stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You gotta have the judge on their payroll.
Yep.
Judge Pill would sign warrants for vice officers to raid a location, but would tip off the criminals who were working in those locations that a raid was coming. So that's how he's on their payroll. Like, oh yeah, I'll sign this warrant, but here you go. And he gets on the phone like, hey, Kevin, get out of there. This gave the criminals time to prepare for the raids and basically clean everything up. Judge Pill was known to accept $500 from each of the crime bosses and protection money for his services. But word spread that Judge Joseph Pill was quite the crooked judge, and a superior judge named Judge Curtis E. Chillingworth took note. Chillingworth publicly reprimanded Pill, warning him that any further misconduct would result in his disbarment. So you got a judge that's standing up saying, look, that's not how we run things. Judge Chillingworth was a well-respected judge from a well-respected family. His grandfather, Richard Jolly Chillingworth, was a mayor of West Palm Beach and a justice of the peace, and was sheriff of Dade County, which then included present-day Palm Beach County. Richard's son, Charles Chillingworth, was the first city attorney for West Palm Beach and Lantana.
Interesting.
So we got some firsts.
Yeah.
So it was just called Dade County?
Yeah.
Do they still have that?
Yeah.
I thought it was Miami-Dade.
Well, same thing.
Or like...
It's Dade County in
or
Miami.
Like Pitbull calls it.
Daddy. Judge Curtis Eugene Chillingworth was born on October 24th, 1896 in Florida. Curtis Chillingworth graduated from the University of Florida in 1917 and was admitted to the Florida bar that same year. After graduating, he joined the Navy, serving at the naval base in Key West, Florida. He then attended the U.S. Naval Academy at Annapolis, where he received a commission to serve on the cruiser Annapolis. They was like, you know what we should name this in Annapolis? Annapolis.
I've been to Annapolis.
Chillingworth served during World War I on the USS Minneapolis. After the war, he returned home to West Palm Beach, where he practiced law with his father. Shortly after returning, he married Marjorie McKinley, who was the daughter of his father's best friend. Chillingworth became a county judge in 1921 at the young age of 24, becoming the youngest circuit judge in Florida history.
A judge
that is young.
24.
Wow.
Circuit judge at 24, or county judge.
Wow.
That's impressive.
All the while, Curtis Chillingworth remained in the U.S. Naval Reserves. He was called back to active duty in 1942 to fight in World War II. Chillingworth was stationed in the heart of England during this time, where he participated in planning the occupation and recovery of Germany. Judge Curtis Chillingworth was released from active duty in 1945 as a full commander. So we're talking about a real deal, red-blooded American.
Yeah.
A good guy. Chillingworth is the good guy.
Yeah.
Judge Joseph Peel, not so much.
Yeah.
Chillingworth was so well liked that the city of West Palm Beach opened a park to honor the judge. He is 100% the complete opposite of Joseph Peel.
Yeah.
Now, in 1955, Joseph Peel, who was already under the microscope for shady law practices, who is not only a municipal judge but also a practicing attorney, represented a woman and her husband in a divorce case. He represented both sides of the divorce.
How do you do that?
You don't. Really. I mean, that's like a no-no in law.
Yeah.
Represent both sides. Hey, you have no chance of losing.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's a divorce case, though. The problem was old Joe Peel didn't follow through with the divorce proceedings, but informed the woman that the divorce was finaled. Only after the woman remarried and had a child did she find out that she was, in fact, still married to her supposed ex-husband.
Uh-oh.
When Peel found out that the woman was on to him for not doing what he was supposed to do, he was afraid Judge Chillingworth was going to find out and bar him from practicing law. He felt he had to do something to keep this from happening. So Judge Joseph Peel turned to a couple of his criminal buddies, Floyd Lucky Holzapfel and George Bobby Lincoln. Floyd Lucky Holzapfel was a paratrooper in the Battle of the Bulge who had earned a Purple Heart in the war. Afterwards, he became a fingerprint technician for Oklahoma City Police and eventually became an organizer of a West Palm Beach Young Republican Club. Holzapfel also served time for bookmaking and armed robbery, along with being arrested for attempted rape. So he was no longer a fingerprint technician.
Yeah.
His partner, George Bobby Lincoln, was a simple pool room operator who also dabbled in crime. Judge Joe Peel hired the pair to kill Judge Chillingworth to keep him from causing problems. On June 14, 1955, Judge Chillingworth and his wife had dinner with a few friends and returned to their Manalapan beach house around 10 p.m. At around 1 in the morning, Holzapfel and Lincoln pulled a boat to shore behind the house. George Lincoln hid in the bushes as Floyd Holzapfel woke Judge Chillingworth to say he was a stranded boater. When the judge came to the door, the two men attacked him and his wife, overpowering them and holding them at gunpoint. The men put nooses around the judge and his wife's neck, tied their arms behind their back, and taped their mouths shut. They were then forced to board the boat and taken out to sea, leaving behind evidence of a crime at the beach house. The evidence was a broken porch light, 2 rolls of tape, which was used to bind the hands and tape over the mouth, and drops of blood on the walkway from the house to the beach. As the group sailed away, the engine clogged with sand from the boat's beaching, and it stalled. After a few moments, the boat restarted but eventually overheated, and Hosepfel shut the engine off. The boat then drifted in the water for about an hour. Judge Chillingworth begged for his and his wife's life and offered $200,000, telling the men, "Boy, if you take care of us, you will never have to work again."
Wow.
$200,000 during that time is quite a chunk of change.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Finally, Chillingworth, for some reason, told the men how to restart the boat, and they then traveled several miles into the Gulf Stream before stopping again. Hosepfel and Lincoln used 2 surplus army belts they'd bought and strapped lead weights onto the judge and his wife.
Oh, man.
Hosepfel grabbed Marjorie and was said to have told her, quote, "Ladies first." As he got her towards the edge of the boat, Judge Chillingworth told her, quote, "Honey, remember, I love you." To which Marjorie replied, "I love you too." And with that, she was tossed into the water. Before the men could grab the judge, he actually jumps overboard. Now remember, Judge Chillingworth spent many years on the water while in the service and was a strong swimmer even at 58 years old.
Nice.
With his wrists taped together, weights tied to him, the judge managed to stay afloat until Lincoln hit him over the head with a shotgun so hard the barrel broke.
Wow.
Holy crap.
They then pulled the judge back into the boat where they tied an additional 25-pound anchor around his neck and tossed him back into the water. Lincoln and Hosepfel watched with their flashlights as Judge Chillingworth vanished below. The boat returned to Riviera Beach. Joseph Peel was at his home where he'd been waiting, watching the $64,000 question on television to establish an alibi. Hosepfel stopped at a payphone and dialed Peel. "The motor is fixed," was all Hosepfel said before hanging up. When Judge Chillingworth, who was at work always on time, failed to show up the next day, concern was raised. A contractor who was supposed to work on the judge's beach house the following day arrived to find the front door open and nobody around. He contacted the police. The house seemed to be in order, but the officers found the broken porch light, 2 rolls of tape, and eventually the drops of blood on the walkway leading to the beach. Accidental drowning was ruled out, and money found in the home ruled out robbery. Boats and helicopters searched the water, and divers checked along the ocean floor, but the Chillingworth bodies were never found. They were legally declared dead in 1957. One theory came to the forefront of the investigation when authorities discovered the rift between Judge Chillingworth and a Florida municipal court judge named Joseph Peel. But there wasn't enough evidence of Peel's involvement at the time. So unless a mistake was made by the criminals involved, this case would never be solved. That mistake came on the night of November 3rd, 1958, when a small-time bootlegger named Lou Harvey, not Lee, but Lou, left his home with another man but never returned. A few days later, Harvey's body was pulled from a canal near Palm Beach. His body had been weighted down, and a bullet hole was found in his head. That break came when Lou Harvey's widow recalled the name of the man her husband had left with that night. John Lynch.
Like the football player?
Like the football player, but different.
Yeah.
John Lynch was a known alias of Floyd Albert Hosepfel, Mr. Lucky himself. When the authorities began investigating Floyd Hosepfel, they discovered that Hosepfel had been bragging around town that he knew who had killed the Chillingworths. In the meantime, the very thing that Judge Joseph Peel was trying to avoid happened. The botched divorce case finally bit him on the behind, and he was suspended from practicing law.
Good.
In 1959, Joseph Peel quit as a judge and resigned from the bar. So this whole thing was so he wouldn't have to quit being a judge and a lawyer. He has 2 people murdered and eventually has to quit as a judge
anyway. Right.
Authorities then put the clamps on Holzapfel. They needed to get information from him on the murders, but had come up with a plan to get him to talk. Holzapfel had told his friend, a local insurance agent named James Yenzer, he knew who had killed the Chillingworths. Yenzer was also an acquaintance of Judge Joseph Peel and told the now ex-judge that Lucky might be preparing to rat him out. If you're gonna brag that you know who killed somebody, don't brag to a guy that knows the guy that you're getting ready to rat on.
Right. Yeah.
Peel gave Yenzer more than $8,000 and told him to kill Lucky. But James Yenzer had a better idea. He made a deal with an officer of the Florida Sheriff's Bureau, forerunner of the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. In September 1960, he and a friend lured Lucky to a Holiday Inn in Melbourne. The friend was bondsman and former West Palm Beach cop Jim Wilbur. In 1962, when he put in a claim for a $100,000 reward that had been offered for those responsible for the deaths of Chillingworth, Wilbur would say he'd known 6 weeks after the couple disappeared that Peel had arranged the slaying and had confronted Peel, who said, quote, "It was either that SOB or me." But for 3 days in the hotel, Holzapfel, along with Yenzer and Wilbur, emptied 3 bottles of scotch, 1 whiskey, and 1 vodka. Unknown to Lucky, the other 2 dumped their booze down the drain, but Lucky drank. And when Lucky Holzapfel drank, he got loose lips.
Loose lips.
Sinks ships.
That's right.
It's funny that there's a ship in this story.
Yeah.
In an adjacent room, another officer was getting it all recorded on 30 reels of tape.
Wow.
On Saturday morning, October 1st, 1960, Floyd Lucky Holzapfel was arrested and told his confessions were on tape. Lucky later slashed his wrist in jail with a razor blade, but guards found him in the nick of time. No pun intended.
I see what you did there.
After Floyd Holzapfel's confession, Joseph Peel went into hiding, but a friend set him up and he was arrested in Chattanooga a month later.
Nice.
George Bobby Lincoln was already in prison on a 1958 moonshine-related conviction when State Attorney Phil O'Connell Sr. came to him with a deal. Because he had no bodies, O'Connell needed an eyewitness. Granted immunity for the murders, Bobby Lincoln agreed to testify. Faced with that, Floyd Holzapfel decided not to fight. At a November 7th, 1960 hearing, Holzapfel told everything. During his testimony, he said, quote, "People like us should be stamped out like cockroaches because we aren't fit to live with decent people." On March 30th, 1961, after 5 hours and 24 minutes of deliberation, Joseph Peel was found guilty of accessory to murder.
Nice.
Although the prosecutor wanted the death penalty, Peel was sentenced to 2 life terms. But get this, Joseph Peel was actually paroled in 1982 after being diagnosed with terminal cancer.
What?
2 people were dead because of this guy. And
he gets out.
paroled because he's sick.
That's ridiculous.
However, 9 days after his release, he died. Despite cooperating with authorities, Floyd Lucky Holzapfel was sent to death row for his part in the murders. His sentence was eventually commuted to life in prison, and he died behind bars in 1996. Now, George Bobby Lincoln got off pretty darn good for someone who was also responsible for the death of the judge and his wife. He was charged with accessory to murder, but because he was offered immunity in return for testifying against the other men, he only served a couple of years and was released in 1962.
What?
Upon his release, George Lincoln moved to Chicago where he would convert to Islam. Lincoln later moved to Riviera Beach and lived out the rest of his life, dying at the age of 80 years old. Believe it or not, without the testimony of Floyd Hosefeld and George Lincoln, the case may never have been tried because Hosefeld's tape account of the murders was inadmissible in court, and the bodies of the Chillingworths have never been found. A double empty grave with a twin headstone in West Palm Beach's Oak Lawn Cemetery sits to represent a so-called, quote, resting place for Judge Curtis Chillingworth and his wife, Marjorie. And that is the story of Judge Joseph Peel and the Chillingworth murders.
That's a good story.
Yeah, it is.
I liked it.
And all of it for nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, just for him doing what he's supposed to do.
Yeah. But, this Judge Curtis Chillingworth was the real deal. I mean, this is a guy that served in both world wars.
Yep.
Was a well-respected judge and clearly was respected because he was a man of the law.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, he stuck to the law, saw somebody that wasn't sticking to the law and said, look, you don't straighten up, you're done.
Right.
I'll pull the trigger on it, man. And it ended up costing him his life.
Terrible.
So, what do you think? What do you got?
I'll just say the usual. If you haven't done so, go to our Facebook page, give us a like. If you have any questions, comments, ideas, you can email us at eviltransgression@gmail.com. Dustina?
You can also go to eviltransgression.com, check out our link tree and our Patreon, our tip jar.
Ooh.
And you can get to the store, right? That still doesn't have the hats.
Yeah, we ain't on that.
Let me just tell you a story that I was somewhere yesterday. Saw a gentleman in our Evil Transgression t-shirt.
Really?
And I said, hey, man, nice shirt. And he said, yeah. He said, my next purchase would be a hat.
That's a made-up story.
No, it's a God-honest true story. Hold my hand to God.
That is awesome.
I'm not buying it.
I believe you.
I'm not buying
Just
it.
telling you.
I'm not buying it.
When he comments on this episode and said, yeah, it was me.
Oh, I can't wait for that. Good stuff.
Is that all you got?
That's all I got.
I thought you had something extra.
No, I don't.
Well, I do.
Well, let's hear it.
Well, I would like to do just something a little different.
Okay.
Because I'm not about all the hate. I'm about the love. So I'm going to share some love. Some evil love.
I like
All
it.
right? 'Cause you've been talking a lot of trash about evil haters. And they're still out there. I'm looking at you. I'm not even going to mention your name. I'm not even going to talk about you. Because I think the only reason that you leave crap reviews is because you want me to talk about you.
Could be.
I'm not. I'm going to talk about the people that actually show us some good love.
Right.
And I like those that leave us a little bit of humor in their love.
Let's hear it.
It's good stuff.
Let's hear it.
This review comes from a little while back, not too long, but it's one that sticks with me, that I really enjoy. Makes me giggle.
Oh, yeah.
Comes from a gentleman by the name of Johnny Utah. It reads, my name is Johnny Utah. Yes, it's John, and yes, I'm from Utah. Got a problem with that? Want to fight about it? I'm a trucker, not the happy face or torture chamber in the sleeper type of trucker. And I found this podcast last week and thought I'd give it a go. So 3 dorks from Ohio put together a private shit podcast. And to tell you the truth, it's pretty damn good. The first couple episodes were a bit rough, but I'm deep in and it's getting better. You 3 dudes keep me awake and entertained. Some of the stories are new to me, and that's the kind I look for. I really like how you abuse Dustin, but feel bad for him sometimes. Just kidding, I don't. You guys keep up the great work, and I'll keep listening. Y'all ain't dorks. I just said that to see if you read this. If you do see this, let me know, or next time I come through Ohio, I might need to look you up. Just kidding. You guys are great. Hear you later.
That was great.
Yeah, I remember
That is,
that one. That's a good one.
That's one of my favorites.
That's a great one.
I also have another good one that makes me giggle. This is a recent one.
Oh, okay.
From Jacob that reads, "Thanks to these assholes, their podcast is so good it reversed my vasectomy. Now I got some random from Tenor knocked up, and I expect you all to go 50-50 on the child support with me." So,
those are the kind of comments I like.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, love them.
And I'll just leave it at that for now.
Classic.
Oh, that's a good one.
But I think that's a good way to close the show.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Out today. So,
It is.
I kind of like it when I get a little love like that. But it's like the special love.
I like seeing the smile on your face.
It makes me go. It makes me go along. So with that being said, everybody good?
Yep.
Good.
Good.
Conscience are clear. Tell your friends, neighbors, sisters, moms, girlfriends, babies, mamas, side pieces. Listen to our show. Subscribe.
Yes. Help us
Send
out.
us sweet reviews like that, like John Jacob. And until next week,
See ya.
See ya.
peace.